This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for August 5th, 2026. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the podcast. Happy hump day to everyone out there. And man, the new guys look pretty good. Good 5-0 win for the Phils. Luis Arraez went 2 for 4. 2 RBI, got the crowd going early. Kind of set the tone for the offense. Trey Turner had a good game. And then Caleb Killian in the 9th looked pretty sharp, if you ask me. But can we talk about Jesus Luzardo? That was an ace-like performance right there. 8 innings pitched for Jesus. 4 hits. It's all going to come down to the pitching anyway. And if Arraez can get that little bit of a spark, I'll take it. Today will be the telltale sign. I have a feeling one of the reasons they didn't go as hard after a 5th starter is because of Andrew Painter's start on Friday. He gets another shot at it. Let me see a solid. And look, if we can get 2 runs over 6 innings out of him again, or even 3 runs over 6 innings, I'll go as far as 4 runs over 6 innings. I'll take it. But the offense has got to produce. You have to produce. And I guess for day one of the new fielding configuration, didn't do too bad. No errors. I think the lineup was interesting. I didn't hate it. It was a little like at first when I saw it with Arraez batting cleanup. But again, not too bad. So let's see if they can sustain it now. Stuck with my mom last night after the game, and yeah, it's great. But let's see how this is in 6 weeks. But overall, good start for the new guys. I will gladly take it. And I think I had my days mixed up for Mike Gansey throwing out the first pitch. I assume he threw it out last night because he was in the booth talking there for a little bit. But Phillies Nationals tonight, Andrew Painter. Let's see what you got, kid. Because you know, Dave Dombrowski. Well, it's like a trade deadline acquisition. So we'll see. Some concerning news from Eagles camp. A little bit of a scare with Cooper DeJean walking off with an arm injury. Apparently, from everything I could see, he's fine, but that would not be a good blow for the defense. And then Mekhi Lemon and Devontae Smith are both out right now with hammies. Look, hamstrings are never... You never want to see it because it's soft tissue, this, that, and the other. But I will say that I'd rather it now on August 4th and August 5th than closer to September 4th, September 5th. You got time, rest those guys, and I think a natural unintended byproduct of that is you're going to see the guys like Dontavian Wicks, Hollywood Brown, Johnny Wilson, Darius Cooper get the run with Jalen, which, I mean, we're going to need them to step up. He and Jalen and Devontae are already on. They kind of know how each other thinks. So I think it's, again, you don't want anybody to be hurt. But, I mean, if you're going to be hurt, now would be the time to be hurt and allow those guys to get work with Jalen, and especially with a new offense going on. All right, yesterday's trivia question. Steve Carlton pitched 8 shutouts in 1972. That was the 27-6 year where the team only won 59 games. So thank you to everybody who reached out with that. Please be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Philly Jimbo as well. And subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or Apple if you're there. All of those things. I feel like we're so close to the cusp of a big breakthrough here, especially with a lot of the other things I have going on. So all of that helps the algorithm. especially going into football season. We get an uptick in football season anyway. So if we can get the algorithm working in overtime now, come football season, we should be good. All right, it is Wednesday. Time for a little What If Wednesday, brought to you by Lotwin. Go to lotwin.com for your 3D custom hype chains. Fantasy football season is here. Just set the draft date, put out keeper options, and all for my fantasy league. So this is the time for fantasy football. And these chains are awesome for champions and losers. They'll work with you to get your design. So go to lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD to take 10% off of your order. All right, and I think it's simple. I kind of teased this yesterday, but it's Phillies related. And I think you can go one of two ways with this way. And I think this is just like LeBron James signing with the Sixers is the culmination of the process. I think we're at the culmination of this core group of the Phillies. So I guess first, what if these trade deadline moves do work out? I do think you bolstered the bullpen. I think Raley from the Mets is going to be a good veteran presence for those guys. I think it helps and it kind of moves the leverage situations down for everybody somewhat. And I was impressed with Killian yesterday. He looked like I said, like he was kind of the wild card, but Giants fans that I've seen said he's a solid pickup. And then, of course, Arise, you can just tell the energy he brings. I feel like it's like an upgraded version of the Harrison Bader move from last year. So, again, I think at this point, all you got to do is make it into the postseason. And then you can figure it out from there. I think you're at the point of the year where the goals should not be to win the NL East. It should just be to make the postseason. And then you kind of just line them up and play them. I mean, sure, the Giants look good, but I'm sorry, not the Giants. The Dodgers are stacked, but listen, it's baseball. Crazier things have happened. Throughout my entire life, I've seen teams that should have not, like the 93 Phillies, should not have even been in the World Series, yet they took the Blue Jays 6 games. So crazier things have happened, but I think the key is getting to the postseason. And as always, it's going to come down to what the core group, the Bryce Harper, who has been hot since essentially since he asked for help, Trey Turner, who has been hot, Kyle Schwarber, who's been in a little bit of a slump right now. I know he's probably dealing with a little bit of a back injury or tightness or whatever it is, but you need those guys to produce. And then if you get Arise being sort of the spark plug for guys like Marsh, who had a good game yesterday, Bohm, who again hit into another double play, and Stott. And then, like, if you get spark plugs like Derek White, if you get spark plugs like Edmundo Sosa, who knows? But that's what it's going to come down to. And could it happen? Sure. And I think on the other side of the coin, if it doesn't work out, I think you're going to see, especially with all of the uncertainty with whether there's going to be a salary cap, whether there's not, or is there going to be baseball next year, I think you're going to see a much different team the next time we see this. So I've been saying it all summer. Go all out, go after it, and see what happens. But, I mean, ultimately, if it works out, do they have a shot to win the World Series? Absolutely. Are they going to be the favorites in any of the series? Probably not most of them. But we've seen that this core group actually go in as the underdog and make the World Series. It's all about getting hot at the right time. So, like I said, I like what I saw yesterday. Hopefully that momentum then can keep going and going and going and going. But let me know your thoughts. 267-495-8531. That's a Back to the Future voice and text line. We haven't done a Phillies vibe check this season. So where are we feeling with the Phillies? I guess kind of take it however you want. If you want to just take it in a bubble, how you feel about our team. Because I feel at this point with this team, from what we've seen over the past 4 or 5 years, they're their own worst enemy. They're their biggest opponent that they're going to need to worry about. And if they can stay out of their own heads and just do their, as Bill Belichick used to say, do your job, I think they'll be all right. And then it's Red October postseason baseball. Who knows what the outcome is going to be? But I think if they don't, then we're having a whole different conversation. But let me know your thoughts on the Phils and their trade deadline. That is What If Wednesday, brought to you by Lotwin. Go to Lotwin.com for your 3D custom hype chains and use the promo code TCCPOD to take 10% off your order. Want to show off your Philly pride without saying a word? Philly Goat has you covered. From tees, hoodies, shoes, and hats, their gear screams Philly louder than an Eagles fan at the vet. Whether you're tailgating in South Philly or trying to flex down the Jersey Shore, do it in style. Hit up phillygoat.com, use the promo code Jim Montgomery, and get 10% off your order. Philly Goat, because being Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. Go Birds! All right, August 5th, and we're going to hop in the Wayback Machine first and go to 1921. Phillies travel to Forbes Field and lose to the Pirates 8-5, but this was a monumental moment in not only broadcast, but baseball, but just our culture in general. This game versus the Pirates was the first ever to be broadcast live on the radio. KDKA out of Pittsburgh had the broadcast, and if depending on the weather and the atmospheric conditions, in theory, obviously all over the country, could have been heard all over the world. But Steve Arlen, one of their veteran reporters, broadcast the game from one of the box seats. He had a makeshift microphone, and it was really the first time that if you weren't at the game, you got to follow it live and not have to wait for the newspaper the next day. You could hear the sounds of the game, the crack of the bat, the yelling, the roar of the crowd from the comfort of your own home. So a monumental day in not only broadcast, but just our country's cultural history. The first radio broadcast of a baseball game had the Phillies lose to the Pirates 8-5 in 1921. KDKA in Pittsburgh. Steve Arlen was the play-by-play, and I guess he was the color analyst as well. And then we're going to fast forward all the way to 1975. Phillies jumped on the Cubs early at Wrigley Field. Dave Cash with a single. Larry Bowa with a single. Gary Maddox, home run to clear the bases. Greg Luzinski, single. Jay Johnstone, double. Tommy Hutton doubles in 2 runs. Mike Schmidt then homers. All before the Cubs recorded an out. The starter that day for the Cubs was Bill Bonham. He got taken out of the game. Enter Ken Crosby. Johnny Oates then singled. That's 8 batters, 8 hits for the Phillies before the Cubs even retired it out, tying a Major League Baseball record for consecutive hits to open a game without an out. By the time the dust settled on the first inning, Phils were up 10-0. Mike Schmidt would add another homer later as the Phillies would roll to a 13-5 win over the Cubs. But 8 straight hits before the Cubs got an out. 10 runs in the first, and the Phils rolled out in Wrigley. You can tell now that fall is coming because we're going to start getting some football stuff in here. And let's go to 1978, a little NFL preseason. It was the Eagles versus the Saints in Mexico City, the first ever NFL game in Mexico. They played at the 30,000-seat Olympic Stadium of the City of Sports. There was no way I was going to try to pronounce that in Spanish, so I did the English translation. So some interesting facts about this game. First of all, it was a boring game. It was a 14-7 Saints win, but it was across the street from a bullfighting ring, and it smelled bad, leading the players to think they actually were playing on a bullfighting stadium. But no, the Olympic Stadium of the City of Sports is a soccer stadium. The other thing with Mexico City is the altitude. Neither team took that into account during their practices leading up to the game. Ron Jaworski said at one point they were gassed before the Warm-ups were even over. So that led to a very, very sloppy game, hence the 14-7 score. But it was only the second international game ever, and you can see Pete Rozelle sort of had this vision. Paul Tagliabue started to go with it, and now Roger Goodell is taking the NFL all over the globe. But the Eagles-Saints, Mexico City preseason game on this day in 1978, first game, NFL game ever in the country of Mexico. And that leads us directly to today's trivia question. The Eagles have played internationally 6 times during their history for preseason and regular season games. What cities have they played in? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. Hit the Discord channel. The link is in the description. Lots of talk throughout Phillies games, Eagles games. Pretty much what you do with your boys at a bar. So go join the Discord channel there or any of my social media. But what cities have the Eagles played both preseason and regular season in their history? Total of 6 games. Soon to be a 7th this year as they head over the pond to take on the Jags. And then in 2014, Phillies took on the Astros at Citizens Bank Park. Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, and Jimmy Rollins played their 887th game together. The trio, first base, second base, shortstop, broke the Major League record for games started by that combination, beating Steve Garvey, Davey Lopes, and Bill Russell. They would extend that streak to 910 before the pieces started getting broken away. For the game, Ryan Howard hit a walk-off single in the bottom of the 15th to give the Phillies the 2-1 win. But on this day in 2014, Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, and Jimmy Rollins set a Major League record for their 887th start, setting the record for first base, second base, shortstop trio. And then finally today, tournament still rolls on. Kobe is inching ever so closer. Last check, I didn't check it this morning, but as of like last night when I went to bed, it's roughly around 58%. So, I mean, he gained a little bit of ground, but there's still time to get your vote in any way you can. Who is the greatest Philly high school hoops figure? Is it Kobe Bryant or Wilt Chamberlain? I've been saying it all week. You can make the case for either one of them. Voting ends tomorrow. We'll announce the winner on Friday, but there is still plenty of time. Even if you voted already, vote again. Go leave a comment. Call the Back to the Future voice and text line. All of these votes, like I said, Kobe did make up some ground yesterday, so we'll see what happens with that. But get your vote in for the greatest Philly high school hoops figure tournament. Kobe Bryant or Wilt Chamberlain, and the tournament is brought to you by Beach Caddy. Go to beachcaddy.app if you're in Wildwood, Sea Isle, Ocean City, Avalon, or Stone Harbor. Let them take the stress out of your Jersey Shore vacation. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your move-in, move-out service or your beach cart rental. It's early August, so there's still plenty of time to get down to the Jersey Shore, and there's still plenty of time to get your vote in. Kobe or Wilt, who is the greatest high school figure of all time? Had an interesting conversation with someone yesterday who essentially said, on the surface, it seems like the answer should be Wilt, but when you start breaking down the total big picture and the accolades and the fact that Kobe is a 5-time champ, Kobe broke Wilt's record, this guy really went in and did his research on it, and he said, I have to give the slight edge to Kobe. So what say you? Get your vote in, Wilt or Kobe. Who is the greatest Philly high school hoops figure? On this day in 2014, Ryan Howard hit a walk-off single in the bottom of the 15th to give the Phils a 2-1 win over the Astros. For Howard, Utley, and Rollins, it was the 887th time they started a game together, setting the Major League mark for first base, second base, shortstop trio. Eagles take on the Saints in Mexico City on this day in 1978. First ever NFL game in Mexico. It was sloppy. They didn't prepare, but it did set the tone for future ventures in Mexico City. And then in 1975, Phillies start the game with 8 consecutive hits, tying a Major League Baseball record. en route to a 13-5 win over the Cubs. And history was made today. In 1921, the first ever radio broadcast of a Major League Baseball game. Phillies Pirates out in Forbes Field. Phillies lose it 8-5, but the tone was set and everyone could now listen to baseball. Kind of changed the way the game was consumed. And I can't undersell that enough. As somebody who was a former history teacher, one of the most interesting times in our country's history, sorry, I'm going to give you a little history lesson here, is the 1920s, where you saw the popularity of radio grow. Everybody started having radios in their homes, and what this did was help grow the game, because essentially games were played during the day because there weren't lights at the field. And what this did was allow people to consume baseball, which in turn helped grow the game. And just this time in our country's history, you saw a lot of the new technology coming out that made people's lives easier. Washing machines, vacuum cleaners, things that people had to do by hand. Now they were able to do it, save some time. And with that free time, what are they going to do? Listen to baseball. See how it all ties together? I used to love it. Was one of my favorite units to teach when I was teaching was the Roaring Twenties. Just it was fun, and I think it shows us a lot about culturally what our kind of really helped our country. And unfortunately, it did lead to the Depression, but that's a whole different story. But Phillies Pirates, first ever radio broadcast on KDKA in Pittsburgh on this day in 1921. We'll be back tomorrow with a little Throwback Thursday. Any updates from Eagles camps? Can the Phillies keep it rolling? Kyle and I will be recording a Brotherly Birds breakdown, talking about the injuries, Jalen Carter's contract, and just kind of what we've seen the first week now at this point of training camp. So stay tuned for that at some point tomorrow or Friday. Be sure to get your answers to the trivia question. And again, don't forget to get your vote in. I'll stop talking about it if you vote. So call the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for August 5th, 2026. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a hump day. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.